Yes, we are live. Welcome back, my dear friends. This is episode number 75 of Zero Point Healing Show. And today I have with me an amazing healer and a facilitator, and we are going to talk to her very soon. But before I go to her, just a short introduction about me. I'm Vishnupriya, and I'm certified in multiple different healing modalities. And as I came through my journey of discovering these healing modalities, all of these kind of helped me improve in my life, move on to next steps in my life. And that kind of motivated me to create this kind of a platform, that which I call zeropointhealing.com. And it is a web directory of all different healers and facilitators of all various different holistic healing modalities. There are about 50 or more holistic healing modalities that are already registered on the website. And that's a short introduction about me. So now we are moving on to my beautiful guest for today. Welcome, Jena. Thank you so much for being with me on my show today. So tell us a little bit about you. I see that you're certified in different modalities, emotion code and psyche and shamanic healing, and wonderful set of skill set you have developed. So tell us about your entry into this world of holistic healing.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. So my journey into holistic healing really started when I was 11 years old. I started learning Reiki at 11 years old. I know we didn't talk about that. I just have learned so many things that I forget and how many things that I know sometimes. But I started at 11 years old because I used to be very sick when I was young. I had terrible anxiety, and my mother was trying to figure out other ways for me to cope with these issues without, pharmaceutical medication. And, it was a struggle my whole life, dealing with these illnesses. And then I ended up getting endometriosis and PCOS when I was 15. And I was diagnosed with that and had that for a good 7-8 years. So this was only until I was able to really understand more about holistic healing and figure out that we can actually get back into alignment with these energy tools and these subconscious tools. And so my journey started at 11. I've been doing this now for over 15 years, and I'm here and I've made a career out of it. And so I think it was just like a natural progression of what was fated anyways, in that way. So I'm very passionate about this work and showing people that they can have the power if they have the right tools and are able to tap into the right parts of themselves in order to express more of their desired, state of being.
That's amazing. So when did you kind of make that decision to take, emotion code and the body code certifications that you've done recently?
Yeah.
So when did you make that
Yeah.
decision to take this professionally or full-time work?
Yes, yes. Yeah, it kind of just fell into my lap. Like I was at university and I was learning all of these things. And then, I was just kind of using these modalities on the side. I would offer, classes at my university and, trying to integrate these holistic modalities into the, let's say, 3D type of world in that way. And then, just through referral, my business grew and I ended up just where I am today, word of mouth and then social media. And I've just been really blessed to be able to do this type of work and see so much transformation with the people that I get to work with. So it's been amazing.
That's so amazing. So now let's get into the topic of all, the
Yes.
subconscious mind and how it affects the business and the relationships. So tell us a little bit about subconscious mind and tell us more about how you use that in business and
Yeah.
relationships.
Yeah, for sure. So when we understand the subconscious mind, we have to understand that everything that we do, everything that we are operating from is based subconsciously. So even though we might be making a conscious decision to do something, whatever data is stored subconsciously is what we will have to use in order to know how to operate in this reality. So for example, our younger years before the age of 7, we're basically a sponge. We are soaking up the information of the world. We don't know right from wrong. We just see what is. And after the age of 7 is when we start to make sense of it, and we use all of that information and all of that data to then drive our lives. So I always joke and say, the subconscious mind is like a child. So imagine you're running around as an adult wondering why things aren't working, but really it's just because you're operating from the mind of a child, right? You wouldn't trust a child to make decisions, serious decisions for you, but unfortunately that's what's happening. The beauty of it is that when we can reprogram it, we're able to update the software, we're able to update the data that is stored subconsciously so that we can operate from a new version of reality, because now we're not based off all of the things that we picked up on childhood, whether it was right or wrong. We're able to now pick exactly what we want to believe and what we want to see, and that all happens from that subconscious vantage point.
That's perfectly right. And now getting into the relationship and the
Yeah.
business side of things. So tell us
Yeah.
how these, the subconscious beliefs that we have is affecting 360 degrees in our life actually.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before I even found this work, I was, didn't understand why things were happening to me. I always thought, why am I sick? Why am I always like this? Why does everyone have this life? And why am I suffering? And I realized that, when I found the subconscious, I had all of these beliefs that were serving that reality, that were serving this idea of like, I'm a victim, this is happening to me. And, when it comes to success in relationships, right? Our caregivers, whoever we grew up with, have such an impact on how we see ourselves and what we see for relationships. So for example, you've heard that saying of, oh, I don't want to turn into my mother, or, oh my God, I have a relationship like my parents' marriage. Like, I can't even believe that happened. And it's true, because it's just mirroring all the information that you've picked up, because the subconscious doesn't know time. It just takes information and it digests it, and then it regurgitates it through your behavior. So a really good way in understanding why and how success is cultivated subconsciously, it's because whatever you're believing subconsciously will determine whatever is happening on this physical reality plane. So if you want success, you will only have it if you actually believe you can have it. You have to really identify those blocks and those limiting beliefs that are creating these patterns. Why aren't I living from a successful place with relationships or in business, right? Because I think those both are very intertwined, career and relationships, because they have to do with other people, right? And people are a great reflection of what we're storing subconsciously, right? We wouldn't actually know until we engaged with someone or something what we actually believe. So from that vantage point, I think success is really determined on, what can we do subconsciously to make sure that we're set up in a way that will allow us to attract and feel successful.
That's perfect. And you're putting so many things in such a short time. I hope our
I know.
audience really understands, because the concepts that you're talking about is really huge and vast. And let's dive
Yes.
a little
Yeah.
deeper. Maybe if you can give some more examples on, let's say,
Mhm.
a businesswoman, and I'm sure that is a kind of area that you're working on a lot. So maybe you can give us some examples of your clients and tell us
Yeah.
how they had, for example, a business being affected because of their beliefs, and how
Mhm.
changing the beliefs kind of transformed their business at a later time.
Yes, absolutely. So, I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs over the years, and I'm an entrepreneur myself, so I definitely can resonate with, the blocks and beliefs that come up. Especially with entrepreneurship in general, there's always this uncertainty. It's like it's always on you to figure out, how it's going to work. Whereas like when you're in a corporation, it's a little bit easier because you don't have that like, overreaching thought of like, oh, do I need to, like, is it gonna work, is it not gonna work? But with entrepreneurs, I've really seen, if they are not set up with a frame of mind of being, okay, I can do this is something that I'm able to achieve, the business doesn't work and it doesn't flow. So fundamentally, that is a foundational belief of like, I can and this will work, that I've seen with entrepreneurs. So more specifically with clients that I've worked with, I worked with this guy, and, really successful, has had many companies, many exits, but he was struggling with understanding how he still felt this scarcity in his business, right? Even though he had all this money, there was still a lot of scarcity there. And what we found was that that scarcity was around his childhood of being told, like, you can't have that. That's not allowed for you. And that was actually affecting his business and the business that he was attracting, even though on the outside he would have looked, super wealthy and, successful, but for him, he was still feeling that internal resistance. So, we cleared all of that stuff from childhood. We worked on his core beliefs of, what is intrinsic to every person, that they can do it, that they are connected to, higher consciousness for that inspiration. And, a few days later, he was able to attract all these new business deals. And it just shows you that everything is a mirror, right? There's nothing that isn't a mirror to you. So if you don't like what you're seeing on the screen, you have to go ahead and change the story and the video that's running the program. So that was one example. Should I give you another one? There's so
Sure,
many.
sure. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful and amazing.
It is really powerful. I work with coaches as well and helping them attract more clients and stuff. And so I worked with this one woman, and it was just literally 30 minutes. We figured out that, her blocks were related to her personal relationships. Why she wasn't attracting the clients that she wanted was because she had huge trust issues with people in general. So she didn't want to attract people. So in fact, her personal relationships ended up affecting her business and what she was attracting, because if you don't trust people, to what extent are you going to engage with them, right? Probably not a lot, or it's going to be very frictioned, or there's going to be a lot of resistance that you're going to meet when you're trying to attract that client. So for her, we cleared out those programs. We changed, her perceptions around her past relationship of thinking that, she shouldn't trust people because of their behavior, and really brought it back to herself, and allowed her to see that, I am whatever people do doesn't have a say on what I feel about other people moving forward, right? And that's key, because we take a lot of our stuff from the past and we project it onto the future, and we say, well, this is how it goes. I guess this is how people are. And that's really dangerous sometimes when it's limiting, right? Because it was ultimately affecting her business. So we did that, and within just literally a few hours, she attracted 3 more clients. So it's super quick when you get to that like belief, or when you get to that perception, that you just kind of bring the whole limitation down. And life just opens up. It's just an understanding of how to flow with the energy of life, and how to direct your energy and your focus in order to attract the things that you actually desire. So that was another really powerful experience, especially because this client of mine had gone through so much physical and emotional trauma from her past relationship. So it wasn't like a simple, I don't trust people. It was very deeply rooted in trauma, and people spend years in therapies trying to figure out how to overcome that. But because the subconscious is a million times more powerful than the conscious mind, it bypasses all of the struggle, all of the, the weight and the discomfort of having to talk through things, and just being able to just go to that door, unlock it, program it, fill it with something else, and then keep going. Because, we don't have a lot of time on this earth. So why are you focusing on all the things that are going wrong when there are so many quick ways to kind of, jump and accelerate that transformation so that you can get on with life? So yeah, that was another experience.
Wow, and they are also powerful, the way you're putting it, as well as with regards to, the business kind of things. I feel there's huge opportunities in front of, these entrepreneurs out there, but
Yes.
all of these limiting beliefs that is kind of pulling them back and not
Mm-hmm.
being able to. And I think entrepreneurs in general are the ones who really have to kind of dream big and go big, because they
Yes.
have the potential for it. And I think these kind of
Mm-hmm.
healing modalities really help them take a huge leap, just like how
Yes.
you were telling.
Absolutely. And it's, because I work with so many different types of clients, some of them don't understand more of the like, spiritual aspect of this work. And they really see it in a very scientific, analytical way, which is, if I don't like the external situation, then I have to change the input. And just knowing that on a very simple level, even if you aren't, aware of other healing modalities or what it is, is, it makes sense, because whatever you want to see in life, you actually have to be that frequency of that in order to achieve that, because like attracts like, right? So another thing that I would just like to say about that is, this idea of like attracts like, and people are saying, oh, well, I'm holding my vibration in happiness and this is what it is. Why am I not attracting these things? And it's because subconsciously there's something there that's blocking you, that's permitting you from seeing that. So it's not just about what you're doing right now in this moment, but understanding that this moment and what you feel and experience has been predicated on all of your subconscious. So you can't actually make any change. I mean, you can, it would just take many years to do, right? Or you can bypass it and go, okay, well, let's see what I'm believing. Let's put my ego aside and see what's there, and then realize that by doing that, I'm able to humble myself and really start living from this reality of what I desire to be in. So
Yes.
yeah, it's really
Wow.
great.
Beautifully said. So now let's talk a little bit about the relationship side of things, and maybe you can also give us some examples of that.
Yes, I've had some really cool stories with relationships and people attracting, different partnerships, or even their own relationships change. So I've worked with couples before. I actually just recently I'm working with a couple now, and whenever there's friction in a relationship, it's really easy for us to say, oh, well, I'm blaming the other person, like the other person's making me feel like that, like I can't believe that they won't respect me. And it's like, that's the first level of consciousness you can look at it. But if you go deeper, it's just a reflection of yourself. Like, no one is doing anything to you. They're just showing you what you believe. That's all they're doing, right? And a lot of people can't swallow that pill, because you have to take responsibility. It's a pill of responsibility. And a lot of people don't like to do that, because people get married to blame people. Like, that's really like, the basis of the lower consciousness frequency of marriage and partnership. But I've worked with so many people, and now I'm seeing that it's whatever you're holding on to internally is what will be expressed externally, as I've said. So there was one example. I worked with this wonderful, wonderful lady in London, and she had been in a really intense divorce process for quite a few years. And she came to me, and we worked on her feeling enough, and we worked on releasing the stress around this whole divorce issue. And literally, when she released that frequency from herself, the next day the lawyer from her now ex sent her the divorce papers. So if you don't see that you are the frequency of that is attracting everything, right? We can continue to look externally and say, that's your problem, why did you do that, why are you like that? You're never going to resolve it until you see that I am part of the problem, and that there's something within me that is allowing this behavior to create and manifest itself. That's when you can change things. So that was a perfect example of seeing things just happen overnight, like resistance, years of resistance just completely diffused, because the subconscious was on board to experience a different version of reality. If your subconscious is not on board with what you consciously want, you're going to suffer, or it's going to take a long time to get what you want. That's just a fact. And I've seen it through so many case studies of like thousands of people that I've worked with now. So that's one example. Another example is, I worked with a lady who couldn't attract a partner, like just couldn't do it, wasn't able to. And we found that, she had a very strained relationship with men in her life, like constantly attracting men that abandoned her, that disrespected her, that did all of these things that didn't make her feel wanted and respected and loved. And we realized that her relationship to her father was creating this. And even though her father passed when she was very young, she still was imprinted with the way that he treated her, because that was the first example that set the subconscious tone of what relationships with men look like. And so we cleared that trauma, and then a few months later she attracted a wonderful guy and has been in a relationship ever since. So it's really beautiful when you can couple the subconscious work with action. It's not like she was sitting on her couch and all of a sudden this man came into her house. You have to take the action, but the action is the 5%. The subconscious is the 95%, not the other way around, where a lot of people think I need to do action, 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 and work just a little bit on my mind. But from seeing this work, I've really understood that as long as your mind is on board, it gets much easier to align and create a certain frequency of reality. You know, there's something in physics, in quantum physics, they call it the superposition, right? And it's this idea that particles can go all over the place until we actually focus, right? Until the observer focuses on a specific observation of that, then do you get that certain frequency of reality. So that's the same way of the subconscious. There's all of these infinite potentials and possibilities of what you could work with, but until you direct your focus and attention, that is what brings the energy together and starts to create this this alignment. And that's when the reality and all of the energy starts to culminate, and you can actually then manifest exactly what you want from that lens of focus.
Wow, and I love the way you put out the quantum physics theory on that, and
Yes,
beautifully, the I think there are certain movies that clearly picturize those videos of it, which I felt was
yes,
really powerful. I don't remember
yes.
the movie names, but
The
anyways,
Matrix. Matrix is a good one for that.
uh-huh, yes, and it's lovely to watch it in videos and kind of see what's happening invisibly all around us. Just like how the
Yes,
Wi-Fi signals and all of these we can't see, but it's
similarly, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really it's like wow. Most of 95% of the things our human eyes cannot see what's
I
going
know,
behind
right?
us. Yeah.
For sure.
And yes, so now let's talk a little bit about the services that you're offering, because it looks like
Mm-hmm.
you are using multiple different tools and kind of doing this magic inside the sessions. So tell
Yes.
us what exactly is happening in a session. If anybody who's watching this video would like to book a session with you, tell us
Yes.
what kind of programs, long-term programs that you're offering, and what happens within
Mm-hmm.
a session, how long is a session, and what can they expect to happen in these sessions.
Yeah, beautiful question. So, typically the way that I've worked has changed over the years. So I'm really intuitive about the way that I work. So sometimes I'll have like a season where I offer just single sessions where people can just book with me just for one session. More recently, over the last few months, I've kind of let go of that. And I now work with people more deep dive into it. So really giving people a space or a container where we can work anywhere between like 4 and 8 weeks at a time, but it's really dependent on what that person needs. And that's an intuitive decision that both the client and I make to come to an agreement to on what that looks like. So in terms of what happens in sessions, it's really simple actually. So, someone will come and they'll say, this is my problem, right? And then very simply, it's what do you want to feel instead? That's it. And then we just start to program what they want to feel instead. So we change the perception of how they feel about their boss, or we change the perception of how they see money. And we work through those. And then that really sets the tone to unlock the rest of the session. So there is a lot of prep work that I do to align my energy beforehand and to get into a space, because I do a lot of intuitive work and energy work, so I can feel people's energy quite a bit. So I make sure that I set time aside to just feel into their energy and to kind of understand more of where they're coming from on an energetic level that maybe they haven't been able to express, which I think really gives that extra, that it's like a secret sauce, I feel, to the work that I do, because to understand, the deeper you can understand your client, the more results you can get. So that's something that I definitely use to my advantage, and I feel everyone can do this. It's just about tuning in. So it's really just asking, what do you want instead? And then with that, that's when the discovery process happens. It's like, okay, well, we want this. Where did that start? Right? Where is that first example of that happening? And then we go back to that event. If it's not remembered, then we just program what it is that you want. So it's not necessarily you need to come in and say, all this stuff happened in my childhood, this is what's happening to me. You just have to know where you want to go. And a lot of the time we stay in the past, and that's just going to create more of that in the future. So to be able to create a trajectory of like, I'm going here with this. This is what I want. I know I don't want to be, in a relationship that is making me feel less than, or that I feel unworthy in. And what is going on with me that is creating this reality? So that's really kind of how it goes. I know it's a little bit broad, but it really is specific to each person. And I think from the examples I gave before, you can kind of understand, like, you have a problem, you realize that it's you creating that problem, and then you can manifest a new reality from changing that perception and subconscious program.
Wow, that's so amazing. So you said 4 to 8 weeks, but each session,
Yeah.
how long do they usually be?
Yeah, so each session generally is anywhere between an hour and an hour and a half, depending on the client that I'm working with. And, you know, sometimes I might end the session with just like a distant shamanic clearing, and that will be done privately on my end. So it's not on video and things like that. So I really use the different modalities that I have, and I really intuitively feel like, okay, what does this person need? What do I feel like I need to do in order to make this the most transformational experience for them?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it really is case by case, but in terms of the timing, it's anywhere between 60 to 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And do you want to mention the tools that you use, the different modalities that
Yeah,
you mix it
sure.
up?
Yeah, so you know, I've studied Psych K. I've even hosted workshops around the world with this, emotion code, body code, shamanic healing, and my own intuitive techniques that, you know, I do distant healing for. It's something called the upgrades that I do, and that is where I'm able to send out quantum energy that basically lifts people's consciousness and allows them to align more of their higher self energy and ground that into the physicality. Because the more light that we carry, the more we're able to, you know, live from that space and operate from that higher vibration. So it's a really good way to clear out any of those old programs, but maybe not in a subconscious way, but understanding that light and consciousness will elevate your subconscious as a byproduct. So yeah.
Wow, you are really amazing. You're like an
Thank
atom
you.
bomb of all things exploding. Wow,
Thank you.
you are such an amazing person. Thank you so much for sharing so much with us.
It was my pleasure.
And really, I'm like, wow, this girl is amazing. Where did she come from?
New York.
And I also see you are in multiple locations. Do you kind of travel?
Yeah. Yeah, so, you know, before the pandemic, I traveled a lot for work. You know, I had clients come meet me in London, like from around Europe. But I live primarily between London and now it will be LA. So LA and London will be my two bases again. Before it used to be New York, but now I'll be on the West Coast and then in England.
Okay, and you do sessions online so people can book sessions online.
Yeah, I do sessions online primarily. You know, we'll see how things go. I'll start maybe opening up, you know, VIP days where people just come spend a day with me and just get a complete reboot, because I really enjoyed doing those in the past. And I love getting a lot of transformation done in one go, to see how people's lives transform in that way. So, yeah.
Wow, that's so amazing. So, my dear viewers, we have the link to Jena right below this video. So, you can click on that link and book sessions with her and take any of her workshops or retreats that she's talking about. As you can see, she is so amazing at the work she is doing. And I can also see her real secret sauce is the intuitive being that she is. I really see that's the major difference between her and many other healers I've worked with as well. So I hope you will take that opportunity. And if you feel that she's the right person who can help you with any of the issues that's going on in your lives, please do click the link below and book a session with her. And did we discuss on the 10% off discount coupon that you wanted to give?
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, I have a wait list right now, so as soon as, if you do want to work with me, you can apply to work with me. The earliest opening will be mid-December. So, we can discuss that as it comes.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much, Jena. Thank you, my dear
Thank
viewers.
you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all that you have shared, my dear viewers. If you are watching this on YouTube, please do share with your family, with your friends, and you can also subscribe to the channel. And if you know of anybody who might be interested, any friends, family, relatives who's going through any kind of issues, if you feel Jena can help them, please do share the video with them as well. Thank you so much for all your support. I'm going to see you in my next show. Thank you so much, Jena.
Thank you so much.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.